Hello again, so we're on the first floor now. We're in the very beautiful ballroom, commonly known to us as the Blue Room. And I'll just walk around the first floor and point out a few aspects to you. So I've been lucky, I've worked in here a lot of the time. So even while I've been here, this has changed a lot. Originally, there was a doorway through there, and that was the extension into where Flannels is now. And obviously we've got nice sort of flooring now. This always used to be blue carpet when I first started. And towards the bottom of the room there, it actually stepped down 2 steps. Now, all this has been streamlined to make it easier for access, really, because there was obviously 2 steps there. So let's have a walk around. So we know that this section of the building was built in 1926, and we've got all these fantastic chandeliers and, of course, a wonderful dome here. Now, we have a lovely window here, gorgeous, gorgeous window, but it wasn't always the case. This originally was a stained glass window, and I imagine this had been changed around the 1960s when Longer's house was built, which is the other side of here. But imagine that. There was a light well behind that and a glorious stained glass window, which I would imagine would have been a similar sort of idea to this, but possibly a lot more elaborate. But that would have been wonderful, wouldn't it, to see what that was like. So let's walk along a bit more. So we've got a lovely sunray window there, and behind there is our personal shopper room, and there are 3 large windows behind the boarding that are still very much there, because you can see those from the outside. And again, this floor here has been flattened off because there used to be 2 steps there, 2 steps the other side, so the floor went down a little bit more, which is why this feels a little bit sort of claustrophobic, because it was a lot lower than this. So as we go around, I'm going to stop here. Why am I going to stop here? Because originally there was a doorway there, and the door is still there. It's just the other side of that wall, which is a little stock room. So originally the doorway was there, and that would take you through to a corridor which runs exactly parallel to the Blue Room. It comes out the other side and goes into the other part of the building where the manager's offices are. And behind the bags there, there are 3 windows. They're all blocked up now, so 2 smaller ones and a large one in the middle, though that possibly could have been a doorway onto the roof, because behind there is the 2 skylights that I was mentioning before, and the remnants are still there. You can still see sort of octagonal sort of shapes which are covered with sort of felt or lead, what they're covered with now, but they're still very much there, even though the skylights aren't there anymore. Now as we go through here, if you recall, I was telling you about a lovely big dome that came up on the first floor, and this is where it was here. So imagine all this area here was originally outside, all open to the elements, and our huge dome would have been somewhere in here, but above it was a big glass apex roof which covered it, very much like the Blue Room. And then all this was filled in about 1947, 1948, when they realised they needed more space. So the other side of there are our manager's offices, and all sort of boarded up now, but the original windows are still there as well, which have all just been painted over there. And we've got another staircase through there, but that's our fire escape. But again, that was put through in about 1960s. So let's have a little walk down here. But then you've got a huge load-bearing beam here, which stops. So obviously that was put in, and all this was being sorted out. And again, we've got the top of our staircase, which is roughly about 1908. And this lovely stained glass window. Now, I don't know anything about this, or when it was put in, and the significance of it. But there it is, it's a gorgeous window. When the sun is out, it really does reflect really lovely. And you've got our 4 arches here. Again, roughly that one there would have been the original staircase. And let's walk through onto the main floor now. Now, there isn't as much sort of significant details as there is on the ground floor, but there's still a few things that you might not have noticed. I'm going to go walk round because we've got lots of things in the way. One of which is this lovely solid marble fireplace. As you can see, lovely Art Deco piece. And if you try to remove that, well, you couldn't. It's so heavy, it's so solid. And originally, this is just a stud wall, but originally this was just freestanding, and it went all the way around. And possibly there's another fireplace behind there. We'll try and cut through here. So again, we've got our 1960s lifts over there. Let's pop round here. Now, one thing I didn't mention on the ground floor, which is rather remiss of me, was the inclusion of a massive light well. Now, light well is just like a big area which reflects light. So if you can imagine, roughly from where I'm standing here, going all the way down, goes on for a while, you know, to approximately here, there would have been a massive light well going all the way down to that area there. Would have been one underneath, so it would have been sort of cornered off with some banisters going all the way up to the second floor. Why? Because on the second floor there is another huge half-domed ceiling, the same era as the blue room. Now that's currently covered with sort of roof tiling, I suppose. But if you look through, you can actually see it, and it's stunning. And again, there's another glass roof above that, so it's protected, but at the moment it's all quite dirty and dingy, so you can't actually see how beautiful it is. But if somebody wanted to restore it, it'd be well worth it because it's still there. And, you know, another fantastic piece of Art Deco architecture which has been covered up. Again, we've got our 2002 extension. And here is roughly, as we said before, where the original staircase would have been. Staircase and another little lift. And we go around here. Now, in that little cupboard there, it's all to do with the aircon and stuff, but there are the original pillars in there, stone pillars in there, which are all nicely sort of shaped, all behind there too. So now we're sort of entering the 1926 extension. We've got our loading bay sort of lift here. And in the corner there, where we've got store closing, as we all know, that originally was our staff entrance. Now behind that little bit of area there is a very large wooden door which was opened up, and there is a bridge that goes across to the other side into the precinct. And if you're looking from St Michael's Row, and you get level with, I think it's number 17, and just before you get into the precinct, and look up, you'll see another example of sort of like a sun ray window. It's been covered up at the moment with some blinds and stuff because that belongs to another building, but originally that was ours. And before you sort of get into the precinct, you will notice a lovely wooden door that still says Browns and Chester on it, but obviously you can't get in there because there's nowhere to go anymore. But as you came up the staircase, you came across a bridge, and then there was another lovely room with all parquet flooring, which we used for stock room at one point, and then a staircase that came down into the store for us here. So what was this area here? As I was sort of talking on the ground floor, you can see this area is a bit more shaped. It's sort of got a bit more of a weird angle about it, because behind that wall there, and again further down, are the original windows, and they're still in place, all boarded up obviously, we can't see, but if somebody wanted to take all this boarding off and make the building look lighter, they could do, because they're all still in place. But this area here, and going around to the side, well, this was the original Ambassador's restaurant. As we sort of go a little bit further again, we can see examples of the plaster coving. A few different bits here. So all this lovely area, which apparently did originally seat up to 400 people, would you believe? So all these bits are sort of been added onto because it's just all stud walls and nothing of vast significance. But again, you've got all the lovely plasterwork here. And we get to this point here, and as I said about on the ground floor, this is roughly where our staircase used to come out. So when I first started, this area was actually home. Home was here. Children's wear was over here, women's wear was a little bit further down, but home went all the way around the other side, and then home was upstairs as well. But then around 2002, they streamlined everything and and sort of brought women's wear up all to the first floor, and then home went all the way up to second floor, and children's wear moved. So yes, so our staircase was originally here and came out, and it would have come right straight out into the restaurant, which would have been amazing. So all this was oak floor all the way around. The other side was actually a furniture department, so there was a doorway there that sort of stopped that department. And as we come around here, again, this was more of the restaurant. But this section here, where we've got our women's wear till point, this is where the servery section was. So we had the kitchen over here, and the servery section was over here, where all the waitresses would have come out and brought you your drinks and everything. And there's some lovely photographs of on the third floor, which I'm not sure we'll be there when we reopen, of a lady's 21st birthday party. So you used to have a little band playing, and it was a private section. So they did it in such a way, so they had a separate staircase. So of course they could have closed the rest of the store off, and you just could have come in and have the restaurant all to yourself for a lovely function or something like that. So of course this area is all 1926. Again, you've got a lovely brick wall going all the way through there. I can't actually access that, but that's a solid bit through there. But roughly around here is where the two buildings are joined up through it, almost like a bridge. I suppose you would class it as a bridge, which you can see from the outside down the corridor, which is sort of extends around the building. But this area would have been obviously two separate buildings, and then joined up approximately here. So there we have it. So a nice little tour of the first floor for you. Thank you very much. Bye.